Good morning, everyone. How are we this morning? Let me just make sure everything is doing what it's meant to do, more or less. We're live on YouTube. It says so on my phone. All is good. Hello, Nora. You're always so prompt. It's so wonderful. Oh, I haven't put that light on. Let's put that light on. So, sunshine. Hello, Kay. We have sunshine. We also have wind, and it's not very warm. This week, about a week ago, oh, I've just spotted a very big cobweb. About a week ago, we were told that today was going to be 20 degrees. No, that's 20 degrees centigrade for those of you who work in Fahrenheit. So 20 degrees centigrade is roughly 70 degrees Fahrenheit, roughly. So, yeah. 14, and we haven't got there yet. Hello, Leanne from Texas. Morning, Shaz. Morning, Minda from Honolulu. Aloha. Hello, Sue from Ohio. So yes, it's a sunny day. I've been out already this morning. I was over at my chiropractor first thing this morning, who is very pleased with my progress, as indeed am I. It was one of those strange things. She said, so how are things? What have you noticed that's different? And I said, strangely, I've actually noticed my sciatica more because I mostly don't have it. So when I do have it now, I notice it. Whereas previously, when I had it basically all the time, I didn't notice it so much because it was a constant. Ooh, that's a worry. I've got a stamp, but don't know where it's from. Never mind. Anyhow. So, this morning I am going to be looking at Ranunculus Romance. This is heavily reduced at the moment. So the stamp set is £8.80. That's a 60% discount. And the Ranunculus dies that go with it are just £12. Again, that is a 60% discount. So the two of them are just £20. It's ridiculous. Now that is Europe market in English. I can't speak for the USA, well, North America or South Pacific, or indeed if it's in any of our European languages. Don't know what the prices are for those. Obviously the dies will be the same in Europe, but hello, Leslie. So that's what I'm playing with. I'm also going to be using some retiring embellishments, and some strange colouring stuff. I mean, they're not strange. It's not strange colouring stuff. It may be a bit of a surprise. This is one of... Oh, where's my mouse? This is one of... Can't see the bottom bit of... Your favourite sets. Oh, and it's going... Hello, Sherry from a cold Ontario. Yes, it's cold here as well. I mean, I've got a summer weight jumper on because I'm sick and tired of wearing wool. But yeah. Anyhow, let's flip the camera down. I do want to talk free shipping. Excuse me, and I haven't got a drink with me. I want to talk free shipping, and I also want to talk backlogs. Hello, Margaret, because the two things do go together. But let's flip the camera down first. So we were told last night that, and indeed for those of you who are demonstrators, there is a video about it in today's update. So this is the stamp set we're going to use. They talked to us about the backlogs that we've been experiencing, and I have mentioned this before. On the 4th of April, we had more orders on that single day than ever in the history of Stamping Up, and they were about the same number of orders globally as we had in the whole of March. Then we had Easter, which certainly in Europe means we have a 4-day weekend. So, you know, things compounded. As things stand at the moment, 4th of April orders should now have shipped in Europe. So things are getting back onto a better footing. They are doing overtime in the warehouse. They're also working on Saturdays, which they don't usually do. And they will be continuing to do that whilst they are catching up again. So tomorrow, or if you're in the UK or Ireland, tonight at 11 o'clock, there will be free shipping. Whoop, whoop! Leanne, it's 5 a.m. We're expecting thunderstorms this morning and later today. Oh, no, you don't want that. So yes, free shipping, orders over £60 or €75 will get free standard shipping. Great time to get some of the last chance items, stock up on adhesive, card stock, all that good stuff, while there is free shipping. It's a great time to place that £60, €75 order. So I am going to start. We're going to go vintage. I haven't done vintage for a while and I'm missing it. And we've got some lovely colours that we can use for vintage. So I'm going to start by using a piece of Very Vanilla. And actually, the first thing I'm going to do isn't stamp. The first thing I'm going to do is take my time-worn type embossing folder, 3D embossing folder, and run a piece of Very Vanilla through that so that we get a nice background going. I'm very naughty about not using embossing folders and I love them. So why don't I use them more? You've got your order ready, Sherry. All I would say, and that's great, all I would say as a word of caution, and you probably know this, don't actually have the order in the ordering system until go time, because sometimes, not always, but sometimes it will pick up the date from when you started the order, not from when you close it. Chilly, South Florida, 65 degrees, I wish. I mean, that's chilly for Florida, I accept. But I wish it was 65 degrees here. It's not. So yes, have your wish list ready to go. But please bear in mind that it may pick up the date early. On average, how many hours a week do I devote to Stampin' Up? How many hours are there in a week? Roughly that. A lot. I do spend a lot of time. I must cut back actually, but I do spend a lot of time on my Stampin' Up business. I enjoy doing it. Blending brush and crumb cake. Did you know that crumb cake is the most popular colour in Europe? Just saying. So I'm just going to gently add some crumb cake to pick up the embossing. But joking apart, Karen, what I try to do is work standard hours, as in, 9 to 5-ish, Monday to Thursday, and then take Friday afternoon off. At the moment, because we've got Last Chance and we've got the new catalogue coming and I'm going on the incentive trip at the end of May, so I've got blog hops I need to get sorted out and tutorial bundles I need to get sorted out. So at the moment life is a little frenetic, but yeah, as a rule, 4.5 days a week. Hello Jane from Georgia. I've really enjoyed my new Stampin' Up paper trimmer and it's big improvement. Wonderful, Leanne. I cannot tell you how happy that makes me. It's always a little bit scary recommending a product that you really like, particularly if it's something you also sell, although you're not in the UK, so that's easier for me, or not in Europe. But yeah, people have different ideas about what a good trimmer is. So I'm really pleased that you are enjoying it. So also, Karen, I'm on one of the demonstrator councils, which adds a little complication in my life because most of the people that are on the same council as me are in the US, and there's also a lady from the South Pacific. So in order for her to not have to get up at crack of sparrow, I have a late night, which happens to be tonight. Hello, Anne from Bangor in County Down. So that's all I've done. I mean, it's fairly light. I don't want it to, I only want to pick it up a little It's just to kind of age things down a bit. What I'm also going to do with this is take my paper snips, and I'm thinking I need a piece of rough paper just to catch some of that'll do. That'll do. This is some printing that didn't work. There's something weird about my printer at the moment. When it jams, it prints this, which I've not sent to print for about 3 years. But yeah, so I'm just going to, this is why I'm getting paper. I'm just going to rough up the edges. You can get a tool to do this. I have a tool that does this, but a pair of snips is just as good. So we are really going for the broken down, grungy kind of look. And I'm not going to worry if I rip the paper. That really isn't a problem for me. In fact, I would rather I did rip the paper, because I want this to be grungy. No, you're very welcome, Karen. It's when I joined specifically to run a business, so I am that kind of rare being. It is a very, very, very small minority that actually joins to run a business, and it's quite a small minority that actually run a business. The vast majority of demonstrators join for the discount, and why not, I say. If I wasn't doing this as a business, I would join for the discount. So I've got quite a nice rip going there. I just want to encourage it a bit more. So that is that done. Let's get rid of as much of this as we can. Lots of fluff. I'm going to be hoovering later. So it's really grunged up, and I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to get some colour, preferably without ruining my brush in the process. I'm going to get some colour on those edges too. I shouldn't have done across the way. It's much better to go up and down on an edge than across. Let's get some more ink. So a lot of work is going into the prep for this. To show the, oh, thank you. Thank you, Shaz. Thank you, Leslie. Yes, sharing is caring in all walks of life. I've probably mentioned this before. I natter away like nobody's business during these lives, and I frankly do forget what I say from one day to the next. Because I'm making cards all the time, quite often only because, and I mean only in the nicest way, quite often because I'm doing a live or a video or whatever, I end up with lots of cards that I can't use. So every now and again, when my storage for cards gets too full, I offer them to a local charity or organisation that needs fundraising. So I've got some of that to sort out, because the local nursery school, preschool, is looking to do some fundraising, so they're going to get those. Right, so that is quite broken down now. Does that grunge technique on the edge of your paper compromise damage your snips? No. No, not really. I mean, if you did it all day, every day, probably, but no. I use the top end of the blade rather than the point. I think if I did it on the point, it might not be great, but no. If I just go, it's just a piece of vanilla. It's cutting perfectly well. I mean, obviously it didn't cut the whole way because I didn't. There we go. Perfectly good. Still like butter through a knife through butter. So there we go. That's prep. Right. So now I need a piece of the vanilla. Let's hang that back up to actually do some stamping on. I have dug out crumb cake, copper clay, new colour. I do this as a hobby and donate or sell some cards for charity. I love stamping up how everything... Absolutely, Anne. So I've got Copper Clay, Early Espresso and Pebbled Path. So Copper Clay and Pebbled Path are new and are in colours, although they don't have the in colour logo on them, which I think is quite interesting. So I haven't prepped. I don't know which colour's going to be best for this, but I'm going to actually go for Pebbled Path. Ooh, first time open. There's a bit of plastic. It's fine, it's just part of the manufacturing process. So let me ink up my Ranunculus. It's quite juicy. So I'm going to grab a now retired, as in discontinued, as in no longer available, piece of small grid paper so that I can just see what... That's actually too grey, I think. So I'll change that. I wondered if it was going to be, so I think I'm going to go... I might actually just stick with crumb cake for this one. Let me just clean off my stamp. Yeah, I mean, if I wasn't running a business, I would be crafting. Would I do YouTube videos? Probably yes. Having got into the habit. Had I started with it just being a hobby, I mean, it was a hobby for many years, but while I was working very long hours, it does stamp so beautifully. You're right, Shaz. So, yeah, I mean, for years I didn't do YouTube videos. I only started doing YouTube videos because I was running this as a business. So, yeah. Right, okay. So I'm going to die cut that. I'm also going to bring in, if I can find it, which I probably can't, I was going to say I will bring in the deckled rectangles, which I had out. Can I find them? No. No. Okay. If I come across them, I will use them, but otherwise I will not. Deckled? Where are you, deckled? Because I'm using them for one of my tutorials. Maybe I put them back. That'd be a surprise. Deckle. Bear with. No, didn't put them back. There they are. They were with the stuff that I'm using for my tutorial, because I'm now part of a tutorial team who global, some amazing people on it. I'm still pinching myself because I really don't know why I've been asked to join. However, I do know the person who runs it, which does help. But yeah, so I'm using that for my next tutorial for them, or my first tutorial for them, and that will be an added bonus for my team, because they will get to have the tutorial every month for free, and also my customers, if they place an order that qualifies them for their free product, they will also get the tutorial, and people can buy it as well. But I haven't got one to sell yet because this is my first month. But yes, I'm using the decal-edged rectangles for that. Do you decide? How do you decide between YouTube lives and Facebook lives? It's very easy, Shaz. I don't do Facebook lives. I used to. Oh, so how did I? Why am I not seeing the bottom of the... I'm not finding... Refresh chat, that's what I want to do. Come on. The reason I stopped doing Facebook lives was purely because Facebook kept throwing me out of my own lives, which I thought was very rude. And I asked people whether they would move to YouTube lives, and only one person said they wouldn't, and as she is a fellow demonstrator, I've now lost the chat completely. As she's a fellow demonstrator, it didn't really seem to be too much of an issue moving. Thank you, Sherry. I'm very kind. But as I say, I do pinch myself quite a lot. So we've got our Hujima flip. We've got a decal. I am going to grab this stamp, which is the, well, it's a receipt for some jewellery by the look of it, but it's just, you know, random script. And this I'm also going to stamp in crumb cake, but I'm going to stamp it off first because I just want it in the background. Oh, thank you, Nora. Kay doesn't like Facebook. I hate Facebook. You know, not wishing to put too fine a point on it. If I didn't need to be on Facebook for this, I mean for business, I wouldn't. I actually rarely go onto Facebook. It's actually very faint anyway, so I don't need to think about stamping it off. I post to Facebook from Instagram, and I post to Facebook from my website. Oh, it's darker than I thought it was going to be, and crooked. Never mind. What I will do is do more. More is more, because that will help hide the fact that it's crooked. So we'll have one solid and the rest not, but just kind of covering the whole thing. I don't want any really vanilla bits, so it's just a background. So that, I wonder if I can find my zoom. I can. There you are. So that's what I've done. Hello, Mary. Don't worry. When I first started, I bought a year of tutorials. They really boosted my confidence, gave me a head start. What a great idea. Great idea. I mean, there are all sorts of people that do sell tutorials. That bit's annoying me. That's a bit better. So, yeah, I mean, there are people who do sell tutorials as a regular thing. I have in the past, and I do obviously do my class kits. I'm going to grab that brush again. The latest class kit has just gone live on my newsletter. I must put it on my website. It's a strange one because we're at the changeover of catalogues. There's no guarantee of what's going to be available when reservations close. So I saved up a lot of the Dainty Flowers paper from Celebration. And hello, Kay. So I'm giving that free. I'm obviously not including that in the cost of the class, but it means I've got paper that I can use. I am including some of the gilded paper that was part of one of the online exclusives. 12 demos, 12 tutorials per month. Really good idea, Shaz. Right, so that's going to go on there with dimensionals. That's the word I'm looking for. Dear Lord. However, what I need now is a trimmer for a card base. It's going to be a stunning day. Bearing in mind I've got to be up until 11, until gone midnight tonight. It's going to be an interesting meeting. Oh dear. The Stamping Up guy who runs our group, when he was interviewing me to see if I would fit onto the council, he said, of course the thing about you, Liz, is that whenever you go into a room, the whole place lights up, and if it was quiet before you went in, it's not quiet when you are there. And I kind of think, really? Really? Not quite sure how to take that, but okay. And now I'm thinking, yeah, meetings at 11 o'clock at night that run into the wee small hours of the following morning. I'm not sure that I'm going to be terribly alert, but okay. So, yeah. It's fine. It's fine. That is the right way up. There are actual words on the time-worn type, so it's quite useful to have them the right way up. What steps are to you use? Oh, what stamps? It's the Ranunculus Romance. That is interesting. I'm using YouTube to learn techniques, so I follow. Oh, Anne, that's wonderful. Thank you. Yes, Ranunculus Romance. Right, so that's nicely attached. Using liquid glue really helps with that. So I'm going to make this an expensive card to send. Actually, before I do that, I want to put some linen thread on. So in the UK, our prices for postage have just gone up quite a lot. But that's fine. But if you use more than one layer of dimensionals, or use dimensionals and anything other than a completely flat embellishment, it becomes expensive because it becomes a large letter. So instead of it just being a lot of money, it becomes... Ooh, let's do this at the right end, shall we? It becomes a really... I mean, it's ridiculous. I can't remember the prices now, but other than it's ridiculous. Now, I like odd numbers in everything, so I'm going to have this going around 3 times. And just cut that off there. And tie this in a knot. And I have got discontinued embellishments. So the linen thread isn't discontinued. Thankfully, I love linen thread. If they ever stop doing linen thread, I am going to have a bit of a hissy fit. Let's try and tie the knot so that it's actually tight, shall we? So yes, the linen thread is not retiring. I have got out the natural finish ribbon as well, which I may use on one of the later cards. So I've got that in a knot. I'm now going to tie it into a bow because I want it to be a bit more substantial. I might have cut that a little short, but it's fine. Like that. And then I'm going to make that go underneath so that it sticks down rather than up. There we go. Now, if your ends aren't doing what you want them to do, you can use a little bit of liquid adhesive to help them on their way. £1.10. That is ridiculous. And that presumably, Shaz, was an ordinary first class, not a large letter. Right, so dimensionals on the back. I keep spotting my black cat who is sitting on the wall sunning himself, looking very much like the king of the castle. The house behind us is currently unoccupied. Our neighbour sadly, back in August I want to say, literally dropped dead. She was washing her hair and going to go up and to the corner. She was washing her hair. Her carer, her living carer, was out walking the dog, came back, and our neighbour was no longer with us. Yeah, the Australian postal costs really are quite inexpensive by comparison to the UK, but UK postal costs are inexpensive in comparison to the US. So, yeah. I'm not going to add more than 3 dimensionals to this. Postage in the UK has gone up. I have family in North America. The postage has gone down to send a card to North America. Wow. Just an ordinary first class. Yeah, I mean, it's just stupid. So that's going to go there. And I have dug out and now buried somewhere. There they are. The heart pearls and the champagne rhinestones. I'm going to go pearls. My favourite elegant faceted gems have sold out. Otherwise I would use them. Right. So I'm going to use the ones that are kind of matte. And actually, before I use them, I am going to grab that blend. This is one of the naturals, and it's SU 700. And I'm going to just add some of that over these. It just kills the white a little, because these are quite white. Oops. And it just tones them down a bit. So dry those off. They're alcohol, so they should dry quickly. Oop, come on. And I can get away with putting these round the ranunculus without the post going up, because it's already a large letter, which is as expensive as it gets in the UK. 2, and a little baby one down here. In fact, I can tuck that one so that it helps hold up that last piece. So that is what we have got. Now, if I hadn't coloured those pearls, that is what they would look like. Let me see if I can get that zoom going again. So this is white, and this is coloured with 700. I've made over 60 cards and tags that will be sent to Dallas this week to be sold in a gift shop. Brilliant, Leanne. So yeah, it makes quite a difference, just that tiny, tiny little bit of alcohol marker. Now let me get back onto that. There we go. So that's our first card. For our second card, I am going to use this image here, and I'll probably use the Eiffel Tower, and I may use that actually. So let's grab that and a block. So again, I'm going to use vanilla, because I still want that aged look. Let's get rid of the rubbish, clear the decks a bit. So I'm going to eeny meeny miny mo. I'm going to do this in copper clay, but I'm going to just see what that looks like first. So the copper clay is new, so it's therefore quite juicy. So I would always do a pre-stamp. That is quite dark. I think I'm going to do second generation, but it's got that nice kind of pink. Hello, Joanne. It's got that nice pink undertone. So I'm going to have it about there, deliberately going off the edges. And it's almost straight, which is even better. So that's all I'm going to do in copper clay. Then I'm going to pull out that image that I said I was going to use, which is this one, and grab another block. Thank you, Kay. It's, yeah. So I haven't done vintagey for a long while, so every now and again I like to go down memory lane. Right, so I'm sure we've got a die. Yes, we have. We've also got, let's use some of that. So I'm going to die cut, I'm going to stamp, obviously, and die cut the image, but I'm also going to die cut this piece, and this is going to be in crumb cake. I've just decided, randomly. Right, but I want to stamp in early espresso, because I want this to be not quite black, which early espresso does very nicely for me. And again, I'm going to just check. I think that'll be, what does it look like second? No, second's going to be too light. So let's go in the direction of the curve there, because I do want to colour that, because that's so much darker on the paper. Right, we're going second generation. It's the difference between whether you're using what in effect is photocopy paper and nice paper that is ready, willing and able to take ink. Yeah, Copper Clay and Pebble Path are just gorgeous. That is so much better. So if we compare, this is second generation and this is first generation. This is a lot more solid than this, and this is the finish I want. Pebble Path is going to be like a dark version of grey granite. It's got that slightly soft tone to it. So let me just cut this out of that, and I want a scrap of crumb cake. Let's find a suitable sized scrap. That's probably a suitable sized scrap. And I can do this on my little machine. So my little boho blue. I love all the new ink colours. All the new colours. I love all the new ink colours, but I love all the new ink colours and other colours. I know some people are a little bit sceptical about wild wheat. I hope that Thursday's live managed to put some of those fears to sleep. So I'm just checking that I've got that straight-ish. But no, I love all of the new colours. What was fascinating was looking at Lemon Lime Twist against Parakeet Party. Lemon Lime Twist I used to think of as being bright. And then we got Parakeet Party. Not so much anymore. It's lovely, but it's not that bright. I mean, it's bright, but it's not that bright. Right, so let's not waste card. There we go. One of my pre-orders arrived yesterday. Ooh, was that a 4th of April order, Kay? I'm assuming you've seen the video about what they're doing to mitigate the backlog. For those of you who joined a little late, on the 4th of April, when pre-order for demonstrators went live and the last chance list went live, there were more orders in April than in the whole, on the 4th of April than in the whole of March. And where's it gone? There it is. So they are, and that's globally, and there were backlogs globally. So they have started in Europe and elsewhere doing overtime and working Saturdays. It was the 4th, and it's arrived. Good. Yeah, I've still got catalogues that should arrive tomorrow. So I have pulled out 600, 700, 500, 600, 700 and 800. Yes. These are the colours on vanilla. So I want to start with my pink in inverted commas, which is 700. This is my pale pink because I want these to be pinkish flowers, and it picks up the tone of the copper clay. So I like to use these colours not just for skin tone, they are for animals. They are so much more than that. I'm not bringing in any green, I'm only going to use these. So I'm having this as my pink, and then I'll have one of the yellow tones as my green. Now obviously using it on vanilla changes the colour a little, which is why I did my swatch. So I'm going to go down a colour to 800, so this is paler, and I'm going to use this for the buds. Now I think these are going to be cards that you're going to have to visit my website to see properly, because there is a lot of fine detail. Then this is 500, which is this colour here, and this is what I'm going to use for the leaves. Wild wheat is more of a mustard colour. You haven't seen the video, okay? Okay, it's in the weekly update. How does wild wheat compare to cinnamon cider? Yeah, it's a lot. I've got some cinnamon cider hanging around somewhere and some wild wheat, so I'll pull them out in a minute. I did do an unboxing, I want to say on the Monday after Easter, where I did do a colour comparison, but I have got cinnamon cider in my drawer and I've got a piece of wild wheat hanging around, so I'll do that for you in a minute. So this is going to go there, but this is going to go behind it to kind of, I'm going to trim this down quite a bit because it's too big. And I'm going to go tone on tone again. I say again, I'm going to go tone on tone, not again, because I want it, right, so that's a piece of crumb cake. That might even be the right size. So I'm going to, oh no, it's too big, but that's fine. So I'm going to run it through. This time I think I'm going to use one of the online special 3D embossing folders, which is this one with the sort of florally stars. Although, am I? Actually, no, I'm going to change my mind. Same set. I'm going to go for the hatch. So, don't need plate 2, so I need plate 1 and plate 4. And get me crumb cake. So this is a quarter sheet, as it transpires, of crumb cake. So I will be cutting it down once I have run it through the embossing. Is cinnamon cider like the new copper? No, it's a bit different. I'll pull it out in a minute, Barbara. Ooh, plonk. I mean, it's not dissimilar, but it's not the same. Right, so I'm going to cut this down to my usual layer. I do like to, sometimes, not always, but sometimes I do like to use a slightly larger piece of card to start my embossing, because sometimes you can end up with wibbly edges and this straightens it out. So let's go to my usual size. Oh, I don't know why I put that away, because I want that for that. So this I'm going to cut down by, oh, I'm going to go 3/8. I'm going to take 1/4 of an inch off one side and 1/3 of an inch off the other side. And that's just so that I get cuts going through the stamping. And then I'm going to take 3/8 of an inch off the top. Yep. So I'm going to take the whole piece off the top. Right, so let me just grab cinnamon cider. She says, where is it? It should be here. There we go. Right, so that is cinnamon cider. That is wild wheat. And that is copper clay. So very much, this is much greener. Because I don't retire any of my colours, I can live without wild wheat. I love wild wheat. So that's very much greener. It's a green mustard. This has got more of a pink tone to it than cinnamon cider. Oh, Leslie. I have to say, I don't tend to retire my colours, my card, because it quite often comes back. So I was hoping cinnamon cider was going to come back, because it is one of my favourite colours, and I have a whole pack of it. You're welcome, Barbara. Always happy to help. So I'm going to go with the embossing coming up, because that looks more aged. I do want to do some stamping with that stamp, as in it's like a postage stamp. So let me grab a baby block for that. I'm going to stick with the copper, I think, but I'm going to stamp off. So I'm going to need that. Let's clear the decks, shall we? Let's have a clean workspace. Then I can see what I'm doing. Right. Morning, Carol. Oh, lots of purple hearts. I was also hoping, yeah, I was really hoping cinnamon cider was going to come back. I was also hoping that Celebrate Sunflowers was going to stay, but you know, can't have everything. So I'm just going to do some random-ish stamping with this, but on one side, and some going off is always good. I might need some up the top there, so let's boing boing like that. Do I want some at the bottom? So then this is going to layer over. Come on. This, I say this, these are going to layer over and be tied with a piece of linen thread. Yes, that's what I'm doing. It's always nice to know that I've got a plan. So let's tie these with linen thread. Karen's a cinnamon cider fan. You see gold in wild wheat. Yeah, there is that kind of, it's that yellowy kind of look to it. I think it's going to be one of those colours that, depending on exactly what you use it with, will determine what it looks like. Let me just grab a silicone mat, a very dirty silicone mat apparently. I'm just going to add a bit of seal to the back of that so that I can then stick that on top and it will hold them together, so I don't have to pinch them. So it's like that. It just means one less thing for me to have to worry about. So let's wrap that round a few times. So later this week, on Friday in fact, I'm meeting up with a very good friend of mine who I've come to know through Stampin' Up. She's fellow demonstrator and lovely lady, Kate Bolt, who lives, she and I live about, I don't know, 20-ish miles apart, and every now and again we meet up for brunch. It used to be for coffee, then the pandemic came along, and then the pub that we use started doing brunch, so we decided we'd become ladies who brunch. So yes, we're meeting up for brunch on Friday, so that'll be nice. Although by then hopefully my catalogues will have arrived and the last thing I could do with is a day off. But hey, to Karen's earlier question, one of the joys of working for yourself with this as a business, it means I can move things around. So I can go out with Kate on Friday, and then if I need to make up the time, I can do that on Saturday. So yeah. So we've got that there, and let's have a sentiment. Now the sentiment, I think I'm going to have, am I going to emboss it? I think I am, and I think it's going to be Just Because. So I'm going to have Just Because, and I'm going to emboss it in copper on vanilla. Oh, will it fit on there? It might. You never know. Should we try? So I need my embossing buddy and my ink and my powder. Because the thing with Versamark is it stays sticky for quite a long time, but the sooner you can get the powder on it, the better. So let's have, and I'm going to put it kind of into, I'm likely to put my head in the way. Sorry. It's just going to happen. Now, is that straight on the stamp? Yes, it is straight on the stamp. Moment of truth. Yes, it's straight on the card as well. I can live with that. Right, let's get rid of the copper. And that means I can then use the champagne gems. So, here we go. Are we ready? Load aim. If I ever get back to the UK for holiday brunch with you and Kate. Oh, Sherry, that would be lovely. What's wonderful is that we run very different businesses. So not that I ever feel like I'm competing with anybody else, just myself. It means that we definitely aren't competing. Right, so that's going to go up there on things, dimensionals. But I think I want to back it. So I need to decide how long it's going to be, to which I think the answer is that long. So this I am going to add some adhesive. And it's going to go off the edge of the card. So this end is actually academic. It's this end that I'm looking at. Now I've noticed that I actually cut that end slightly crooked, but it's fine, or slightly at an angle, I think is the word I'm looking for. So that's going to go up there on dimensionals. So let's build the card. Okay. So we'll add this. So that is tone on tone. And this is also going to be an expensive card to post, because I'm going to put this on dimensionals, and then I'm putting this and the sentiment on dimensionals. So we're going for expensive post again, but you know, it's only money. Need to redo my nail varnish. I can always tell because I've got little pink marks, which means that the top coat is wearing down, which means I need to redo all of it. But that's fine. I have an admin afternoon, so I can do it as part of my admin. So we've got quite a nice sized border. Don't need that anymore. Then probably use one large one there without it showing, because lots of things are overlapping. Yep. And then I can use some minis. So a mini up there and a mini there, which would have been a whole lot better had it not been going off the edge. There we go. And then I'm just going to come in with my snips. Oh, hand delivered is always good, yes. I'm just going to cut some edge pieces. When we do our Christmas cards, I say when we are looking to write in our Christmas cards, because obviously I make our Christmas cards. Don't think I'm going to have to make any this year. I think I've got lots left over. We always overestimate how many we need. Any that are large letter go to villagers, because then we can save on the postage. So I walk them round. And just one more piece. Hopefully this is narrow enough to go there. Maybe. Just. So let's take the backings off. I do love that our backings come off dimensionals without any problem at all. I remember for years using foam pads that didn't, and it was just ridiculous. I spent hours trying to get the backing off your dimensional, or your dimension. Hello, Brenton. Brenton's had some amazing things on his Instagram feed recently, just saying. I mean, he always does, but particularly recently. And I think The World and Their Mother has put up that it's free shipping tomorrow. Well, today for those of us in the UK and Ireland, because it starts at 11 o'clock tonight. So this, oh, I need to do a double at the end. Yep. So this, I'm putting an extra dimensional on because that's going to hang over here. This is already on a dimension. So in order for this to not squish, technical phrase, I need it to be on 2. And then I can turn my card over and just snip the back. Now I find that that looks much better than trying to get it all lined up. So having it deliberately going off, to my eye, looks better. We're all different. And then because I've been using all these nice pink tones, I can use some of the retiring champagne rhinestones as my finishing touch. And I'm going to use quite a few, I think, because they're retiring. Why not? So let's put one in there. They will be an odd number. Whatever else I do, they will be an odd number. So that's 3. So that's 5 round there. That one's gone off. And then we just need one more. That one's moving anyway. Have that one just in under there. So, now this is one of those cards where I think I would probably want this to be somewhere specific. So I'd get a little dot of glue and pop that down, but it needs a block over it to keep it in place for a while. So those are our 2 cards for today. Always, your feed, Brenton, is just amazing. So those are our 2 cards, both vintage but slightly different. Starts for us in 3 hours at midnight. Oh, only 3 hours to go. Whoa! I have to say, for the UK and Europe, it's less of a big deal. So I think I'm right in thinking that in Australia, your shipping depends on the weight of your parcel. I know in North America, it's a set amount until you hit a point, and then it's a percentage of the value. In Europe, it's a flat amount. So we don't tend to have such a spike in orders on free shipping day. That's not to say I don't like it. Is that a hint, Kay? So yes, there you go. Those are our 2 cards for today using stupidly priced. Thank you, Carol. If you've enjoyed that, please give me a thumbs up. That would be great. So the stamp set in Europe, in sterling, not in euros, is £8.80. That's a 60% reduction. The dies are £12. That's a 60% reduction. So you can get the dies and the stamp set for £20. That is ridiculous. Both weight and size of box, whichever is the greater cost. So it is, yeah, so it is different. Whereas for us, thank you, Mary, For us, it's a flat rate. So both Australia and, well, I say Australia, South Pacific and North America, free shipping makes a huge difference because it's free, whatever. Ours just means we don't pay £6.95 or €7 something. Can't remember what the euros is. Thank you all for joining me today. I have to say I've had a great time. I always have a great time, but I've had a particularly great time today. So let me get my little mouse to do its thing. So, thank you, Brenton. I love the stamp set as well. This is a stamp set that if you haven't already got it, well, a stamp set and dies, if you haven't already got it, free shipping is the time to get it, because at this price, get some vanilla cardstock, some crumb cake cardstock, whatever, glue to bump up your order, and just fill a £60, €75 order. I mean, just, yeah. £8.95 for your basic shipping. Okay, yeah, we're £6.95 for our basic shipping, but it doesn't change. You can order half the catalogue and it's still £6.95. Anywho, thank you all very much. Let me just flip the camera across so I can say goodbye properly, because I do like to say goodbye properly. I was brought up properly. So thank you all very much for joining me today. Have a lovely rest of your day. For those of you in South Pacific, enjoy your free shipping in 3 hours. For those of us in Europe, enjoy the free shipping in 9 hours. And for those of you in North America, enjoy the shipping sometime later. So thank you very much indeed. And I look forward to seeing you again. What's today? Tuesday, Thursday. And we'll have some more fun then. Until then, bye for now. Ooh, transition. Bye for now. And it hasn't. I love it when this works. Come on.